shout to Stephanie. He got your. All right. Yeah, cue me up. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Gavis Podcast, which this is our 23rd episode. And I'm your host, Gavis Salawar, and we're coming to this beautiful radio station, a beautiful station. See, I script again. Let me say it again. We're coming to inside this beautiful radio station, Lancer Radio, and this beautiful school, Penn State City College on this Friday. And I'll be joined by my co-host, as always, my beautiful co-host, Michelle. Happy Friday to you.
Happy Friday, David. Thank you for having me.
And today we have two people, which not the first time we had two guests here on Gary's podcast. We're back at 62. We have Eric Bang, 62. And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my guests representing from Foster Youth and Stars, everybody, and Gary Gomez. Guys, welcome to Gary's podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having us, David.
Thank you for having us.
And now, at the same time, I want to give a shout out to our girl Stephanie Hernandez for Foster Youth, especially she can want to make us happy, and I can't thank her enough. Stephanie, thank you for bringing Edward and David to my pod. And now, guys, are you ready for the topics and questions?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Topic 1, Foster Youth, and I'll go to Edward first, and I'll go to David. Question 1, how did you get hired at Foster Youth?
Yeah, I'm fairly new to the program, so I started grad school about a year ago. I go to Cal State Dominguez Hills, and then I'm an aspiring counselor, so I'm in like a college counseling program. And so because of that, and part of the responsibilities of the program is that we need to have student-facing jobs, and we need to have hours for our like school requirements. And so part of those jobs are the success coaches here on campus. There's a success coach in every single department. Every student, for the most part, I think has a success coach. And so there's a success coach within the foster youth space, as well as like EOP&S and departments all across campus. And so when an opportunity just presented itself, and there was an opening to be a success coach there, I thought it would be something that would be beneficial for my personal development, something that would help me reach like my personal and career goals. I was a former EOP&S student at my community college, and I know what programs like this can do for students as far as like giving them support, community, and resources. So once this opened up, I just took it as an opportunity to keep growing, keep learning, and have a student-facing role. And so the hiring process was just me really applying last semester when I saw the opening. There was an interview with all of the staff, and then luckily I was selected, and this is my first year with the center, and I'm really, really excited.
Nice. And what about you, David?
With my hiring process goes back to 2016, summer 2016. A good friend of mine that worked here at PCC, Antonio Villarreal, gave me a call, said, hey, PCC is going to have a new foster youth programs. They're really going to need some support and someone who has experience in programming and working with foster youth. I have about 20 years working with foster youth of experience. So I came aboard in 2016 when Guardian Scholars or STARS program was already established, but they were barely establishing NEXTUP. So I came on board to kind of help lay the foundation and start building the program to what it is now.
And what's your favorite part about working in the foster youth program?
I would say, I think like the community within itself. So there's like, we have like a kind of like a cohort or caseload model. And for the most part, you see the same students who kind of hang out and filter in and out of the center. And so my favorite part has just been like seeing the same familiar faces over and over and trying to develop those relationships. And then seeing how like the folks that are already there, like the two Stephanies and David and all of the counselors, they just know the students like their back of their hands. Like you mentioned somebody's name, and then David is really, really good with just like remembering the student and like building relationships with the student. So I'd have to say it's that aspect.
Working with foster youth, obviously we have a great team. So because of that, we're able to really cater to the needs of our students, but also just being able to build the rapport and relationship with the students, seeing them from my first point of contact to them graduating, just seeing them go through that journey, through the ups and downs, right? But eventually pulling through and then eventually graduating. It's amazing to see how resilient, courageous, and brave they are, that push forward no matter what.
Nice. And by the way, yes, my first Swagger, he's back for on Gary's podcast for the fourth time with Swagger. You just made history as the first guest, first to be a fourth-time guest on Gary's podcast. So, Swagger, congrats on making history. Thank you, David. I'm so happy to be here on Gary's podcast. Now, back to you, David. Thank you, Swagger. All right, now, your second question ever, David, is tell us about foster youth and the services you guys provide.
Yeah, I guess I can start. There's two different programs within our foster youth department. So we fall under the EOP&S department, and we fall within the umbrella of services for EOP&S. And within our foster youth center, we have a NEXTUP program and a STARS program. And so the NEXTUP program is really for students who are under the age of 25, and they have to be at that, like they have to reach that age mark when they start the academic school year. And students who are in the foster youth system either like at their 13th birthday or after. And so that's the program requirements for the NEXTUP program. And then STARS catches all of the other students who pretty much don't meet that eligibility requirement. So it's students who are a little bit older and students who may have been like within the foster youth system at a younger age or at different points in their life. And so that's really like what NEXTUP and STARS are and like the differentiating factors between them. There's a lot of overlap in like the services, and we have like, it's the same center, so we build a lot of same community with the same students. But for the most part, those are the two programs that we have on campus. And then I think those are just like the distinguishing factors between both of those programs. And that's what it is. And then it's really interesting. I think our application, like our community college application, like when you apply to PCC, does a good job of like filtering, because there's a specific question about like whether or not you were a foster youth at the age of 13. And I think David can speak even more of that. Like that's how sometimes we're able to get some of our students and like get them to the intake process. But yeah, those are our two programs here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as far as the services that we provide, like Edward said, they overlap. So, for example, I work directly with the NEXTUP students. So they are, we have a couple of designated counselors that are available for academic counseling, just anything that's academic related. We have counselors available for them. Easy access to a counselor. We provide also a book voucher, school supplies voucher, parking permits. We provide the hot meal plan at the Primo Notch where they get, credit so they can, eat. We provide bus pass. I think I mentioned parking permits. Unmet need grant. So at the end of the semester, our students get a grant for meeting their requirements, which is the 4 contacts and 2 workshops. We do provide workshops with an array of services. So, I mean, we have a very comprehensive program that basically we catered our program to meet the needs, academic and financial needs, and overall well-being of our students. So there's so many services that I can go on all throughout the show, but I think the most important ones is the book voucher, the meals, priority registration, supply vouchers, and so forth.
And is there a unique service that you guys provide that not many people know about?
Unique? Well, in the past, we have, we've done like in-state and out-of-state college tours. So we've taken our NEXTUP students to like college tours in Atlanta, Atlanta, New York, Washington, D.C., Chicago. So we ventured outside of California. We've also, when our budget allows, we've actually sent students, some of our NEXTUP foster youth students, to go study abroad. So we've been able to send some students to, like, I think Italy, Spain, Costa Rica, London. So that's some of the, comprehensive, and we think outside the box. Those are the what we take in consideration, like how can the students benefit from these services.
Yeah, and then I think I also wanted to add that a lot of it, like this was already established when I got there, but there's also a lot of community partnerships, like with outside organizations who are meant to like help foster youth. So we have like partnerships with a lot of services that will provide like housing for our students and provide like different services that are specific for our population. And so I think that's pretty unique to our program in that we have like a lot of partnerships, like a lot of community partnerships, just to help students with like academic, financial, like housing, like basic support needs that they may need. And I think that's pretty unique to us.
And if I may, I think one thing that maybe the campus is not fully aware, but we actually have housing for foster youth students through various partnerships with the city, with a developer, and First Place for Youth. We have a 6-unit complex, studio complex, not too far away from here on Foothill that houses our foster youth students. And they are in the process of, I think, building 12 more studio apartments to house our homeless foster youth students who are aging out of the foster care system at 18.
Oh, that's amazing. And how
Yes.
do you like start that process too?
Different partnerships came together. They understood the importance of homelessness within the foster youth community, and then you have people with big hearts who really want to help, who really invest not only money but their time and their energy into the community, especially for those students who are the most vulnerable, which is our foster youth population, and they want to see a change. So everyone stepped up to the plate and made things happen.
Nice. And by the way, if you're watching on YouTube, David Gomez is representing his Chicago Bears,
Yes.
especially the Bears. He was just telling me before we record the podcast, they got a big game on Monday night. What's your good Commanders? Am I correct, David?
Yes, you are correct. Big game.
And do you want to give your prediction for the Bears, or you want to just your Bears?
No, I think we'll pull it. We'll pull through. We'll pull through. I have trust in my team. We're doing fairly well. So gotta keep the positive vibes going.
Yeah, because I think the Bears will be the Commanders, especially QB Killers. All right, now your good question, Edward, is can you tell us what you do at foster school? I'll go with you, David, and then Edward.
Okay, so what I do at foster youth, I'm an education advisor. So I help students. I do the outreach. So my job when I came on board in 2016 is to basically grow the program, to try to reach as many eligible foster youth as possible. I think when I came in 2016, we were about 15 to 16 students. It took me about an academic semester, almost a year, to take it up to like 100 students. So my part is the outreach, connecting with community agencies that works directly with foster youth, with DCFS, the Department of Family and Children Services, the Department of Probation, housing programs in the community. There is just so many agencies that work with foster youth, and my job is to connect with them to kind of recruit and promote Pasadena City Colleges and all the services that we have. So it's outreach, case management, provide resources, pretty much help out with any programming within our programs. So for example, we have the Foster Care Awareness Month, where we do a lot of programming, so we'll help with that, or holiday events. So, but just overall, just checking in with the students, doing wellness checks, and making sure that they are connected to resources, that they feel supported, and so forth like that. So a lot of, except ed plans, the only thing I don't do is ed plans. But other than that, I help with the students with any need they have.
Yeah, my role as the success coach is a lot of times it's a lot of student outreach and student engagement. So I think one of the primary roles is just retention and making sure that students are aware of like events and programming on campus, events that we have within the foster youth programs, and then just making sure that they're taking advantage of the priority registration, they're registering for their courses on time. I also do wellness checks and check in with students and provide advisement in like different areas, whether it be like time management, building study habits, just making sure that they're connecting with their counselor and they're familiar with some of the program requirements as well. So that's like kind of what my job entails. It's a lot of student-facing work and just making sure that students are familiar with the program requirements. They're doing their check-ins, and it's a lot of, I think, retention and student-facing work just to make sure they're on board. And then my goal is to make sure that if they have any questions, they have easy access to somebody on campus and they're able to get their questions answered in a timely manner. And if I'm not able to answer their question, I can always just direct them to the appropriate resource.
And apart from first-time interactions and like check-ins, how else do you build relationship with students?
I think the fact that we have a center, like we have our own space, is something that's very helpful. We have students who will just use the space to hang out, to study, and I think part of, like, I'm newer to the role, but part of what I've been doing is just like making my presence in the space. Like I have a little area in the back, but as of lately, I've been kind of just spending more time within the space and just talking to students that way and just having like small conversations and casual conversations, but also just using it as like a reminder, like, hey, like doing like check-ins in that way. Like we can talk about movies and other things, but also like, how are your classes going? Okay, have you met with your counselors? Have you done your contacts? So I think the fact that we have our own space is something that's really, really helpful for that. And then David also just offered a really good piece of advice, just apart from those contacts, like every once in a while we can do like wellness checks and just make sure that we're calling students and we're keeping up with them in that way. But I think just having our own space is very helpful.
Yeah, so for me, it's first point of contact. Well, actually, I do the intake process. So when a new foster student connects with our programs, I do the intake. I do a need-based assessment, and I determine which program they're eligible for. But that first point of contact is very important. That's where you kind of have to establish the foundation to let them know, the students, that you're actually here for them. You're just not saying it because that's part of the job. You're saying it because you really mean it. And follow through is one of the biggest things with foster youth. You have to follow through on what you say and what you know. If I'm here to support you, I'm here to help you, I'm here through your journey, making sure that you're there for supporting them through every single step of the way. So being present and then follow through is very important to building rapport and relationship with the students.
Nice.
Nice.
Thank you.
All right, now we go from first grade now to our second topic, EOP&S. And your fourth question, Edward gave it. How did you land a job at EOP&S, Edward?
It was the same as the landing the job in foster youth, so it falls within the umbrella. And then so when I applied, it was success coach role for EOP&S and foster youth. So I was kind of applying for both roles when I did my application. And then I guess I was just lucky enough to be selected for the foster youth department. But I was really, just because of the department with it itself, like, has all these different sections. Like there's care, there's EOP&S, there's a lot of programs there. I was applying to all of them, and I was lucky enough to just land a position at the foster youth department.
Mm-hmm. Kind of similar to me when I came in 2016. Obviously, the NEXTUP program was under EOP&S, so I had to go through an interview process with the EOP&S director, with the back then the coordinator Rosa Prado. So yes, it was through EOP&S, but it was specifically working with the NEXTUP foster youth programs, and I've had previous history working with EOP&S. And I myself am a EOP alumni from Cal State Northridge. So I'm very familiar with EOP at the community college and at the university level as well. So that kind of helped me in my journey in higher education.
Nice. And then for EOP&S, can you guys explain it a little bit for those who don't know what it is exactly?
Yeah, it's a program like that's founded like in the state of California. So it's a state-funded program, and really the purpose of the program is to help students who are like traditionally marginalized and underserved. So there's a couple of different criteria for how students can become eligible for the program. If you come from like a marginalized population or have a marginalized background, you become eligible. But also if you're just like a low-income student and you fall within the income bracket, you can become eligible for the program. And really the main mission of the program is to provide these students who have just been historically disadvantaged extra support services to make sure that they're reaching their academic goals. So the support services are similar to the ones that we offer in that there's direct access to counselors, there's tutoring, there's field trips and explorations to like different campuses, there's workshops, and then there's financial assistance and just assistance with like paying for like things like transportation, school, and even sometimes personal expenses if the students can't cover it. And so it's just additional support for those students who really, really need that additional support.
Nice. So like if someone's like laptop broke, you guys would be able to like help fix that and everything?
Yeah,
that's amazing.
We have the request for additional support, and that's usually for like someone breaks their laptop, or they need any type of academic tool or supply to help them with their academics.
Nice. And now your fifth question, Edward, gave it. Can you tell our podcast viewers do you guys do the same role with EOP&S with foster youth, or do you guys have like a different roles with EOP&S? I'll go with you, Gabe, first.
I really don't have a role with EOP&S in a sense, because I work just with foster youth students. The NEXTUP students are EOP&S, but my role is to work with the students, foster youth students, through NEXTUP and provide the services through NEXTUP. Even though we are under the EOP&S umbrella, I work just directly with foster youth. So I don't meet with EOP only students. They have to be foster youth students.
Yeah, very similar to David, although there's overlap between like some of the STAR students and the NEXTUP students in that they can be part of STARS in EOP&S or NEXTUP in EOP&S. We pretty much just work with students who are foster youth students.
Do you guys have any events? That yeah?
Yeah.
What kind of events do you guys have?
We typically have like study halls on Thursdays, so we have like a tutor who's there, and that will count like as a workshop for students. We have tutors who are present throughout the center, I think 3 times a week, so we have different subject tutors, and students are able to come to that. We also celebrate birthdays every single month, so we're gonna have a birthday celebration, I think, on October 27th.
Nice.
Yeah, we have an organization that we're partnered with that brings us cupcakes, and we blow out candles, and we celebrate some of the students' birthdays. So that's like a pretty recurring event. We also have field trips to like different campuses, and David's actually hosting a field trip to Cal State Dominguez Hills to connect with their foster youth program there. So like those are part of the events that we're having, and some of the like more recent events. I think we also typically have events centered around the holiday, whether it be like Thanksgiving, and then I think the theme last year was Winter Wonderland, where some of our students get presents, and if some of our students are parents, there are presents for like their children as well, and there's like a wish list and an organization that we partner up with that.
Yeah, so I think the next event coming up is our Halloween cupcake decoration contest. So the same agency that provides the birthday cakes and birthday cupcakes, they bring cupcakes, and then we have like a Halloween cupcake decoration. Like I said, we have a Thanksgiving dinner, and then the spring tends to be a little bit more packed with events, because we also have a Foster Wear Awareness Month, which is May, and we do have events throughout the semester, college tours through. So yeah, we definitely have different events throughout the academic year.
Nice. And now your sixth question, guys. If you I'm gonna switch it up. If you were a success coach at work, especially if you were not working in foster youth, David, where do you see yourself guys doing?
I would say if I wasn't a success coach in foster youth, I would. Well, I'm a success coach. I'm at a different college, so I would still want something that's aligned with my career goal and something that's student facing, where I felt like I could work with students and hopefully like make an impact and have like a mentorship position. So if it weren't here, it would probably be like in a similar program, whether it be like at a different community college in a role like that, or if not, I've also worked at a K-12 before as a college advisor, and I enjoyed that too. So it would definitely be like another student-facing role where I have like daily interactions with students.
For me, when I first went to college, I was a RTVF major at Cal State Northridge. So it was a radio, television, and film major.
Wow.
So I went to Northridge, and I'm gonna age myself, right after the '94 earthquake, and our building where they held the radio and television film department was out of service. So I didn't have really a lot of access to a lot of the resources on campus, where now I think Cal State Northridge is like one of the top 5 schools in radio, television, and film. I always had that passion. I always wanted to either be in radio, or I wanted to be a cameraman for the sports games. That was my goal. But unfortunately, sometimes life just takes you a different route, and I got connected with certain sociology professors that introduced me to working with foster youth, and the rest is history. But originally, my career goal was working in either radio or a cameraman in the media field.
Nice.
And now that we're kind of on the topic of like, you kind of veered off a little bit, but like, what's something you guys would like want to tell people who are like struggling and trying to find out what to do with their lives, and like, just in general at school or something? Like, what's an important message you want to tell people?
I think personally, one thing that I've like I found has been helpful to myself, and I've told like other students, is just like like kind of there's a couple different ways to say this, but one of them is like let your mess become your message, or like learn from your mistakes, or like sometimes there are no mistakes, it's only experiences and growing experiences. So like, and then I'm gonna throw out another way to say this, like I sometimes say like slow motion is better than no motion, meaning that if you're doing something and you're working towards something and you're actively doing something, you're always going to be learning. Whether like you could learn that's not what you want to do in this moment, but it'll provide clarity for something that you may want to do in the future. So now you're just a little bit more focused on the role that you want to go to. So I think it's just the importance of like really having that lens from all of your experiences and realizing that like nothing was a wasted opportunity, nothing was a wasted experience. You're just a little bit closer to where you want to be and like to achieve your goals as well. And I think that's one message that I'd want to send. And then a second message of I would also want to send is just like to have belief in yourself and just the importance of like self-advocacy, because like David was mentioning earlier, there's a lot of kindness in this world, and there's a lot of like programs like this that are meant to and geared to help people who feel like they may not have access or support. So those are like some of the messages I would send.
I would say that if you don't know what career path to take, that it's okay. First, let the student know it's okay. You know, that's normal for someone not to know what direction to go. But for me, it was actually keeping an open mind and trying different things. So the professor at Cal State Northridge said, "Hey, just try it out. Sociology, let's see how you work with people." And I gave it a chance. So I got an opportunity to do an internship tutoring probation youth, and that's where I knew that, oh man, I think I like this. I like working with youth. I like helping with people. So, but it's because I kept an open mind and trying new things. You know, you never know what hidden talent. You don't know what you might not like if you don't try it, right? So that would be my advice. And also, you know, if you are at a community colleges, connect with the career center, connect with those counselors that can do career exploration, and you know they have the resources there to kind of help you navigate what your dislikes, you don't like, what personality, and what career path might be for you. So, but overall, just keep an open mind, try new things. You know, you never know.
Right.
Thank you.
And that's a good advice by David. And make sure you take that advice, especially the people who are watching this podcast on YouTube. All right, now the last topic ever given is NEXTUP. And question number 7, can you tell us about NEXTUP? And I'll go with you get first and get Edward.
About NEXTUP?
Yes.
So NEXTUP is an amazing program here at PCC and all community colleges. So NEXTUP now, well, when it first started in 2016, it was only in certain districts, community college districts, and not all schools, all community colleges had NEXTUP. So we were one of the first ones to pilot the program. And little by little throughout the years, it started growing. Now all community colleges have a NEXTUP program, and that's it's great because now they're able to help foster youth students. So it's a great program. It's what we provide over and above services. So our students get services from EOP, but on top of that, they get service over and above services. So it's just a great program that provides a lot of support for most vulnerable population on campus, which are foster youth students here on campus, from housing, like I mentioned, to food security, to pretty much everything, any need that they have here at PCC, we try to meet that need.
And I'm actually not that familiar with NEXTUP, but how is it is it any different from like any other program that offers help at PCC that you guys offer? Because like the youth program, is it the same thing as NEXTUP, or is it a little different?
Which program?
The NEXTUP. I'm not really familiar, so can you guys explain it a little bit more? I'm so sorry.
I think I would just say that NEXTUP is specifically for like the students who have been part of the foster youth students, and students who have been foster youth at the age of 13 or after that and have been part of the foster youth system.
Okay.
And then there's students who are like they're 25 and under, so it's within that range. So that's the population that we work with specifically in NEXTUP. So all of our services are catered to that student population. So that's I think would be the distinction between NEXTUP and a lot of other programs on campus, would just be like we serve this specific student population, and our program is designed for the needs of
Yeah.
this specific like student population.
And where are you guys located? For those who
When
want to know.
The Foster Youth Center, R118.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and if I may
R118.
add a little bit to what Edgar was saying, foster youth come with a lot of trauma. They come with a lot of trauma, and just their overall background is what the reason why NEXTUP was implemented, because they need that extra support. They need the over and above services, just because the background that they come from is not your traditional, even poverty, trauma. They go through a lot. They go through a lot, mental health issues. So that's why they were able to provide NEXTUP to provide those extra services for students.
Nice. All right, now your eighth question, David Edward. Where did the name NEXTUP came from?
NEXTUP.
Yeah, where did the name came from?
So originally the program was called KFES, but it seemed like that name wasn't really catchy, it wasn't connected. So the state of California, the college, the chancellor's office went through this whole rebranding, and I think they surveyed the students. The students came up with the name NEXTUP as a rebrand to really connect the students, and be able to connect with the students, and just a rebranding and then marketing to kind of make it a catchy phrase, because KFES, it was like everybody was like, what is that? And it stands for something, and when you have all these KFES, SHAFES, because there's a SHAFE grant for foster youth, it was just creating a lot of confusion. So I'm glad they did the rebranding to NEXTUP.
Yeah, it's so catchy actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you guys offer what's it called? I know you said you help with housing.
Mhm.
Do you also help with getting jobs and
Mhm.
stuff as well?
Yeah, we actually have a career, like an in-house career advisor. So we have somebody who's there on Monday pretty frequently, and so that's part of one of the services that we offer. We have in-house tutoring, in-house career advisor, and a lot of just in-house services for our students. And so we also it's not it's pretty common for David sometimes or just to sit with students and ask about their interests, help them with the job search, help them with the resume. So I think within our program, that's one of the services that we aim to provide as well.
Do you also offer financial aid and stuff?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so part of what I do is I sit down with the students, making sure we go over through the financial aid application, because foster youth, it's very important that they answer the questions correctly, especially where they have to indicate that they're foster youth. They have to, taxes and stuff like that. So I help with the financial aid, go over their SHAFE grant, because a lot of our students are eligible for this grant that is specifically for foster youth who were in foster care from the age of 16 and older. So they have to apply to that and kind of go step by step on how that process looks like. There's different Cal grants that foster youth are available, scholarships and so forth. So yeah, anything that's funding for school, financial aid, definitely we help out. And if it's something out of our range, or we do have a financial aid liaison, Kevin, who works with our foster youth that can answer any questions or help with any questions of something that's outside of our range, something out of our league.
Nice. And by the way, I want to say another thing. Our YouTubers, me and Michelle and Queen, and we're working foster youth and special scars, and David's also ripping EOP&S NEXTUP. If you want this on YouTube, so we're ripping a compartment. And also at the same time, I always go to ask you guys what events you guys having what events you guys having for EOP&S and Korea foster. But Michelle's now
Sorry.
two for two for answering my question. Thank you, Michelle. That's why you're the best co-host. But I will ask, is there any more events for foster EOP&S? EOP&S Korea NEXTUP do you guys want to announce here exclusively on Gators Podcast?
We actually have a field trip to Cal State Dominguez Hills on Monday. So we're going to it's part of our campus tour. So we went to UCLA, we're going to Dominguez Hills, and I think Cal State LA is the next following one.
Mm.
So that's the most recent one that we have, and that's this Monday. So we're taking students just to explore the campus David's actually going back to Cal State Dominguez Hills, but with like that one's going to be a little bit more purposeful and it's going to be different. It's not going to be a general campus tour. That one is to connect with the foster youth program at Cal State Dominguez Hills and just show our students like some of that and build community in that way. So those are like our events that are coming up pretty commonly. There's also a lot of just like workshops that are hosted by EOP&S. So there was a scholarship workshop because the deadline is today that took place a couple weeks ago. And then there's a lot of application workshops right now just because it's transfer season and a lot of students who are eligible to transfer are applying right now. So those are like our academic workshops. And then like we mentioned, we have the Halloween cupcake coming up pretty soon, decorating. We have the Thanksgiving dinner, and then we have the Winter Wonderland where students can get like presents. Yeah, so those are like our events that are coming up.
Yeah, the fall, it's a little tricky because, fall usually is when the application to transfer opens up. So we try not to do a lot of program, because that takes away from the students, focusing on doing the applications and, getting everything ready for the transfer application. So we really want them to have time to focus on that. But here and there, we do have some great programming events.
How do you help them transition when they transfer?
Well, that's the purpose of these college tours. So it's college tours that we do it specifically where EOP or their foster youth programs provide the campus tour and info sessions. So we can do the warm handoff. Also, our students can connect with someone at that campus. So they get to meet someone who to connect to, if they have any questions, they already built that relationship with that person. So that's why we do these campus tours. Yes.
Nice. Again, you have it, folks. Make sure you take those opportunities, especially here at PCC, and you want to on YouTube. And at the same time, David, everyone, I want to thank you for being my guest, especially on this 20th episode of Gary's podcast. It was our pleasure, especially gave us great insight on foster youth, especially NEXTUP. And I want to thank you guys for being our guest on Gary's podcast.
Well, thank you for having it. It's a pleasure being here.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And Flander, thank you once again for being on my podcast for the fourth time. Thank you, David. It was so much fun being on Gary's podcast for the fourth time. Thank you, David. And especially thank you, everyone. Appreciate. Thank you, Michelle. Beautiful co-host. Amazing job as always. At the same time, David, I'm going to make a prediction for the Bears and Commanders. I'm picking the Chicago Bears to beat the Commanders by a blowout. That's my prediction. All right, Flander. Thank you for your Bears prediction. All right, everyone. I want to thank you for watching Gary's podcast. And I'll talk to you next week. And everyone, we're out here. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Peace.
Okay, bro.